You should escape the hustle and bustle of the city and drive yourself to the nearest Pacific Northwest beach with some bikes strapped to the back of your car and just enough snacks to keep the kid content in order to enjoy some small town festivities and maybe even some low-key American explosions, but mostly just to see the ocean again and breathe a little easier. And in my case, I'm finally gonna buy this hat that I saw last time I visited, but I've been thinking about ever since and didn't buy. At least that's how we're gonna spend our long holiday weekend. Here's our setup for the drive. I'm looking forward to bringing our e-bikes to the beach. I think it's super fun. Once we get there, we'll just bike everywhere. But I've got this like motorcycle rack here, and it keeps hitting the ground whenever I go over like a bump. But so far, it's serving pretty well.
Are you excited for the beach?
Yeah!
Woohoo! You're gonna play with Grandma and Grandpa? And sleep there?
Yeah!
Kendall found us this little pit stop along the Walapa River with coffee and a bathroom, and it's the kind of place that doesn't feel like much until you've been in the car for 2 hours with a 3-year-old, and then suddenly it feels like a full-on retreat center.
What do you mean, why do I love it here? First of all, probably more important than the views, it's huge. There's tons of space. There are kids' tables, there's a kids' toy house thingy, and look at this view.
The view is incredible.
The view is incredible. And they're playing, what, like early 2000s emo music?
So good.
But it says that.
A 4.5-hour drive from Seattle, and then we're here at Manzanita, a small beach town on the North Oregon coast, tucked between the trees and the sea, where time slows and everything smells like driftwood and sunscreen. To the north is Neahkahnie Mountain, often shrouded in mist, and to the south is Nehalem Bay, which opens up to the sea. And stretching between them is this long, open beach, windswept and duned. Is that a word? I don't know, but the dunes are cool. The town itself is just a few blocks wide, built on sand, which is a fun fact, and a single main cute street. I do wish more American cities would shut down streets like this and prioritize pedestrian traffic, but I digress. There's a grocery store, a few cafes, some surf shops, a bookstore, and a rotating bevy of restaurants closing and opening or reinventing themselves every time we come. There's something about running next to the ocean that makes you feel both very small and very awake at the same time, like the horizon is daring you to stop pretending like you're in control of anything. It's kind of scary and exhilarating, and it always shakes something loose in me. That's what I like about being out here. The air is clean. People are unhurried, and you can slow down just long enough to hear what your brain sounds like when you're not trying to be productive. See, this is the front of the house where we're staying.
Yeah.
This has been in the family for almost 30 years.
Yeah!
That's a long time.
That's a load of money.
Got a nice little reading nook right here.
Yeah.
Yeah? Do you read books right here?
Yeah, in my bed.
And in your bed. And here's the kitchen.
Yeah.
Bonk. And then this is our dining room table, where, what are we doing right now? These are your flashcards, workbook.
My flashcards.
Mm-hmm, nice.
My flashcards.
This is the living room where we watch some movies. And then we have a nice deck out the back. This is where we relax. And then there's a really pretty view. There's 3 bedrooms over here. Yeah, where do you sleep?
Right here.
Right there. And where do I sleep?
Right here.
Right there. And then whose bedroom is this?
Jack's.
Jack the dog. And then whose bedroom is this?
Then my papa's.
And then where's your bathroom?
Right here.
Right here. Okay. Can you turn the light on again?
Okay.
Very nice. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hi friends, Alex Kai's here, and I just wanted to pop in really quick because this video is sponsored by me at a home in Seattle. I'm a real estate agent based in the Seattle area, and I help people find and sell homes across the Pacific Northwest. Sometimes that means being in the city, and sometimes it means figuring out how to live a little slower, near the beach, in the trees, by whatever makes you feel like yourself. If you're thinking about making a move, now, next year, or someday, you can reach out using the link in the description. And if you're just here for the sleepy coastal towns or hanging out in the city neighborhoods, let's get back to the show. If you visit the Oregon coast, you need to get cheese curds from Tillamook. I can find good curds from Beach or back home in Seattle too, but I think everything tastes better with the pilgrimage. Last year when we came here, I was holding this hat thinking, I don't need a $35 cheese hat. It has the Morning Star on it. That's the original ship that carried cheese downriver to Portland in the 1800s. Basically the origin story of P&W cheddar supremacy. And for a year I've been thinking about this hat. Not weirdly obsessive or anything, just whenever I wanted a little variety in my two-hat collection and I'm feeling uninspired by athletic logos or anything, I think, it'd be nice to be able to sport my favorite cheese. So I got it. I know some of us don't have national pride these days, but I do love a good small-town 4th of July celebration. There's something about tradition and rhythm. I like doing the same thing every year and the culture that develops when everyone is doing the same thing at the same time. Here's a quote from John Adams that Kendall likes to quote every year at this time.
Independence Day will be the most memorable epic in the history of America. I'm apt to believe that it will be celebrated by succeeding generations as the great anniversary festival. It ought to be solemnized with pomp and parade, with shoes, games, sports, guns, bells, bonfires, and illuminations from one end of this continent to the other, from this time forward forevermore. You will think me transported with enthusiasm, but I am not. I am well aware of the toil and blood and treasure that it will cost us to maintain this declaration and support and defend these states. Yet through all the gloom, I can see the rays of ravishing light and glory. I can see that the end is more than worth all the means, and that posterity will triumph in the day's transaction, even although we should rue it, which I trust in God we shall not.
I sure had fun.
We didn't make it to the fireworks. I mean, Sealy is only 3 and needs to go to bed at like 7, and Manzanita doesn't even have an official show anymore. But here's how you build a fire on a windy Oregon beach. First, dig a hole, then fill it with recycled paper and dry kindling. You can gather driftwood, but only by hand and never from the dunes, which are protected. I like to buy a bundle from a roadside stand, and I still prefer the log cabin method. Small pieces first, airflow in between, and then bigger and bigger logs. There's no big finale here, no glittering explosions or synchronized soundtracks, just a small fire and big sky and the thrill of doing the same thing we did last year, only with a 3-year-old instead of a 2-year-old.